So, a few months ago, I was refereeing for Prime BJJ out in Burnaby. They're going to be doing their next event in a couple weeks, so I'm just reviewing what I did back there at their first event. It was a really good event. This was a couple of white belts that I refereed. You can see they're squaring off with each other, getting, the one fellow there is trying to pull guard, fellow on top trying to pass. Doesn't really pass. He's caught there in some sort of, I guess you could call that a Z guard. It's not really a half guard. It's not a full guard either. And you can see the fellow on the bottom there gets his full guard. So nobody's scored yet because the fellow on the bottom effectively pulled guard, has him in his closed guard there. Anyway, like I was saying, the first Prime event was quite good. The way they set up the mats was good. They had the tables on the inside, so the people on the outside along the rail there was nobody. There was no scorekeepers, etc., obstructing their vision. It was, and it continues to be, Prime BJJ uses standard IBJJF rules, which is something I'm fairly familiar with. Anyway, like I said, the fellow on bottom pulled guard. Fellow on top is within his closed guard, and, they're both, fellow on top's looking for a sweep. Doesn't quite get it, Fellow on top obviously looking to pass. Hasn't done so yet. And, and I'm watching carefully and, looking good. Like I was saying, it was quite a good event, the first one. They had it organized quite well, so we were out of there by I think 2:30 or 3, we were all wrapped up, which is pretty good considering there was, I think there was around 300 competitors, so to be out of there by 3 o'clock with 300 competitors is pretty good. Anyway, the one fellow on the bottom was looking for omoplata. Fellow on top is countering or trying to counter omoplata. You can see his arm there is not over it's not over the correct hip, it should be over the hip that's closer, between them. In fact, you see he's trying to put it in the right spot, but the guy on top is like, I don't think so, sir. Anyway, over he goes, now he comes up, so now I'm going to award some points to the fellow who is now on top for effectively passing his guard, because he was in his guard, he got put in omoplata, and now he's, side control, so he's past the guard. And the other fellow, I gave him an advantage because that was a pretty good omoplata attempt, but then the guy did, a defense there. It's not my, that's not my go-to defense. That's usually the third one I use. I try and do what I call the luggage toss and posture up to swing the guy off. And then I have a few others, rolling forward, rolling sideways. That's the one he did there is generally the third one I do, where I lay down and try and pull the guy over me. But anyway, he did it well, and now he's taking the guys back. He's going to get another 4 here. There's the 4. So now the one fellow, he's up 7-0, and the fellow there with his back taken, he has an advantage for that omoplata attempt, which was, pretty good until the guy countered it. And the one fellow there is now, I think, attempting a choke. And I am watching carefully to, make sure everybody's following the rules. And once again, everybody is using IBJJF rules here, so that's good, other tournaments try and make up their own rules, but, always look, there you go, and got him in a choke. Like I was saying, other events they make up their own rules and stuff, but there's always, loopholes and little, eccentricities, so that's why it's good to have a standard rule book. When you're using IBJJF rules, it's a lot, but at least there's no loopholes. Anyway, there's the guy getting his arm raised. Good job, buddy. And, yeah, they both did a good job. So, all right, here's some white belts. I'm making sure everything's good to go with the scorekeepers and whatnot, and they're squaring off with each other. White belts can be kind of scrappy because they're still full of, they haven't competed before, so, they're all full of beans. I gave that guy 2 points because he did kind of a judo foot trip kind of thing on the fellow as they went down. Now they're up again. Oh, the guy's pulled. See, that time I didn't get many points because the guy just sat, which is fine. But remember, when you're pulling guard, if the guy does any kind of, if you want to watch Jacare do it, Jacare used to do that to all the people he fought. When they were pulling guard, he would have, a dayashi or whatever you want to call it, a little foot trip. And under IBJJF rules, that's 2 points, man. If you're pulling and the guy brushes your foot as you pull, that's 2. Like it or not, If it's one thing if you sit and then he brushes your foot, okay, that's not two. But if he brushes your foot as you're sitting, that's two, man. Anyway, so so the guy on top has 2 points. The guy on the bottom, none. He successfully has pulled guard this time. And it's interesting when you're in your guard. There's a big difference between it being, the guy on top is up by two, the score being tied, and the guy on the guy on the bottom being up by two. Because in a sport BJJ, tournament such as this, it is hugely advantageous, depending on your weight, of course, but it is hugely advantageous. I mean, the guy in the bottom from the guard has more options, as insane as it sounds. I mean, obviously in mixed martial arts, you don't want to be on the bottom getting your face punched in, but in sport jiu-jitsu, man, the guy on the bottom, he has more opportunities to score points. He has more submissions. He has more, he can sweep, he can submit, he can take the back. If things go right out the window, he can try to stand up, The guy on the top, he has fewer submissions. I mean, he has a push choke, maybe an Ezekiel, and the only way he has to score points is to either pass the guard, which can be very hard, or do a back take, which can be even harder. And bear in mind, taking the back and passing the guard are different things. Passing the guard is getting out from between his legs and winding up either side control, knee on belly, mount, or north-south, although north-south is the same as side control or headlock, And a back take is different. A back take is when you do like a berimbolo or whatever. You roll around and you end up with the back grab, so to speak. Oh, there, the guy in the blue is hit him with a sweep there a little bit. Do I give that an advantage? Yep, there I gave him an advantage for that because that was a pretty good sweep attempt. So anyway, the guy in white, I think, is up by two, and the guy in blue has an advantage for that sweep attempt. That was a pretty good sweep attempt. And I was going on and on about, that's going to be, nope, I gave that nothing. There you go. For whatever reason, I felt that was not worth anything, It's funny when you referee something, you're standing from one, you're seeing a fight from one perspective, and now I'm watching it from effectively the other side. You know what I mean? And, I guess I saw something on that side. You can even see I shook my head. Whatever I saw on that side, I was like, you know what? That's not worth anything, But, anyway, we'll see how it all goes. If he passes this, if he gets out of this half guard, he's going to get 3 points, because passing guard is 3 points, I believe right now the guy in white is still up 2 to an advantage. 2 points to an advantage. And the guy in the blue might be getting some points here. Oh, no, he got an advantage because the guy turtled. He didn't pass his guard. He's trying to take his back now. If you're trying to pass a guy's guard and he turtles, you get an advantage for that. That's considered an almost pass. If you go from within the guard to side control, mount, knee on belly, north-south, okay, that's a pass. You get your 3, and then another 2 for, knee on belly, another 4 for mount. But if you're trying to pass a dude's guard and he turtles, if you're doing this, that's not a guard pass. You're not ending in a hold, so to speak, Now, even if he gets that hook in, see, the guy's trying to avoid he's trying to avoid allowing the guy to get his second hook in. There you go. Yeah, I'm giving him the 4 now. There you go. So now the guy in blue is up. He's got the 4 points versus the 2 that I gave the guy earlier for that foot sweep. But anyway, my point is, taking a guy's back is not passing his guard. Those are 2 different things. You see what I mean? You can get the 4 for the back grab if you end up taking his back, or you can get the 3 if you end up side control, knee on belly, mount, what have you. You see what I mean? So, and then I give the guy in blue an advantage because he had a back there and he was looking for something. You know what I mean? Well, actually, I gave him the 4 for the back, and I gave him the advantage for a submission attempt there. Anyway, good job by both these characters, and shaking hands, good sportsmanship. I like to see that at tournaments. I always look down on people, not look down on, but I don't like to see it when there's a lack of sportsmanship. People who are, getting all hot and bothered and stuff. There's no need for that in a jiu-jitsu tournament. But anyway, these guys both did a good job, shaking hands, looking cool. So am I. And now we're gonna raise somebody's hand. There you go. The fellow in blue wins by 4 to the other guy's 2. And had an advantage there as well. So good job to him. Now there's some more white belts. Like I was saying earlier, white belts tend to be kind of scrappy a little bit at first because they don't have that tournament experience yet. They have a lot of nervous energy, so to speak. Well, look at that. That was a nice sweep by that blue belt. I mean, sorry, by the guy in the blue there. Gets 2 points for that, of course. I'm giving him 3 for passing guard because he did, He pulled guard. He came up in the other guy's guard. Now he's passed it. Now I'm giving him 2 for knee on belly. So he's collecting those points, What's he got now? 7, And the guy in the bottom, he's doing what he can. But, sometimes there can be quite a significant skill difference in really any of the belts, frankly. But, sometimes you see it quite a bit at white belt. Because, some people, I remember years ago I met a guy who had been a white belt for, he came to visit the academy I was training at, and the guy was an absolute monster. And I asked him, hey, how long have you been training? He's like, maybe 8 years. And I was like, good Lord. I myself was an 8-year white belt, basically. I started training in, I forget, the first UFC, whenever that was, 92, 93. I didn't get my blue belt till, just after 2000. So I myself was kind of what I call a phantom white belt, cleaning clocks and taking names. Anyway, the guy on top, he's doing a good job. And the guy on the bottom, he's doing his best. It's a learning experience for everybody. The guy on the top there, he's passed again. There's another 3. The guy on the top and the guy on the bottom is just trying to make the best of it. Sometimes you face somebody that is, sometimes, like I said, there's a significant skill difference. But, see, I'm taking that away. I'm taking away the 3 because he didn't really pass his guard. The guy on the bottom, he's going to pass his guard now, though. The guy on the bottom was able to re-guard, But now it's going to be the 3. See, there's the 3. I awarded the 3, and then I took it away, and now I've awarded it again because the guy on the top, as you can see, has truly passed his guard. But anyway, like I was saying, sometimes, it doesn't matter what belt you are, sometimes you step on the mat and you fight a guy that's, just out of your league, even though he's the same belt as you, for whatever reason, that's just the way of the world, Anyway, the guy on top, he's now got north-south, which is incredibly hard to deal with because when you're north-south, you're really stable left to right, and also you're nowhere near the person's legs, so they can't really get back to their guard, although this guy has now gotten back to his guard, so, shows what I know. But, and also bear in mind the guy on top now is way up on points, so, it's funny in jiu-jitsu, when you're way up on points, you don't need to, keep going like a crazy lunatic, you don't want to stall, but at the same time, you don't have to be, going like a maniac, it's like, I sometimes compare it to like a football field or a hockey ice rink that tilts, you know what I mean? Like the guy on the bottom, he's way down on points, and here, now the guy on top's going to get some more points. Once you're down on points, you're generally, see, he gets his 4 here. Once you're down on points, you're generally in a position from which you cannot score points, The guy who has his back taken here, there is nothing he can do at this point to score points, now he can try and pass the guy's guard, okay, but when your back is taken, you can't score points, or when you're mounted, there's nothing you can do to score points. Or when someone has side control on you, you can't score points, So, he's doing a very good job here trying to make something out of this, though. But the guy on the bottom, you can see he knows he's way up on points. And he's got that he's going to do that same half guard sweep he did before. Deep half guard. That's a really good sweep, by the way. When you have half guard on somebody, and you do a deep half guard sweep, you come up, you collect your 2, and then you're in a position to collect another 3 for the guard pass. That's like a fast track to getting, points on the board, And you see some people from half guard, they try and get to their full guard, and then that takes a lot of energy. And then from there, while full guard is a place from where you can score points, see there, he gets his 2 for the sweep. It takes a lot more energy, and it's a lower percentage scoring opportunity to go from half guard to full guard than it is to go from half guard to deep half guard and then come up in the other guy's half guard, generally, if not even a better spot, So I encourage you and, anyone else listening to this, all 7 people, when you're in your half guard, man, that deep half guard sweep, it's a winner, So anyway, the guy who's on top now, he is up, I don't even know how many, 9-0 maybe, and he's doing a pretty good job of, keeping that lead, so to speak. No, there the match is over, you know. And again, more sportsmanship. That's nice to see, you know. And yeah, good job to both these dudes. One dude is from Roll, one dude's from Alliance, you know. Both good clubs for learning how to compete in jiu-jitsu, you know. And I raised the arm of the guy in blue. There you go, you know. And the guy in white, he did a good job too, you know. But the guy in blue had a better game plan, you know. Oh, here now it's the two dudes who won their earlier matches fighting one another. We'll see. Yeah, see, look, the one fellow wants to do that same sweep that he did before. He wants to get his half guard. The other fellow, the one on top, maybe he saw the earlier match. He's like, oh, you're not getting me with that half guard sweep, fella. No way, sir. No way, Jose. I don't know if his name actually is Jose, but you can see the guy in the bottom is looking for something. Oh, he's looking for a footlock. There you go. Well done, sir. You know, you can tell the one dude there, I was going to say the dude in the blue, but, you know, the guy in the white belt without the colored, you know, he is well prepared. He is well prepared for these events, man. As is the other guy, you know, but this time he got caught in a footlock, so. Now we're on to the lady white belts. I remember I refereed, I think these ladies did 3 matches, you know. I think it was the best out of 3. I think they each win 1, and then I forget who wins the 3rd. But anyway, you can see the lady in white there is looking to get a closed guard, you know. And she's pulled guard, but it's more of an open guard, you know. So now the lady in black is trying to pass, and I am keeping a careful eye on what's going on. And oh, she's got a closed guard there. Well done, you know. And when you're pulling guard, you can pull there's various kinds of guard, you know what I mean? There's closed guard, there's open guard, butterfly guard, half guard, you know, spider guard, all that kinds of stuff. But when it comes to pulling guard, it's good to start, in my opinion anyway, it's good to start with a guard that, like, sets the tone of the match. You know what I mean? So if you can pull closed guard on somebody, and from there move to whatever guard you want to use, okay. That, to me, or from what I've seen, that generally is more successful than trying to pull various other kinds of guards, which still leave your opponent, you know, able to move about, so to speak, you know? Like, you see people try and pull butterfly guard or spider guard, and the person on top, they're not, you know, in the crocodile's jaws, so to speak. They're not, their movement's not being controlled, and so they just blaze around it. You know what I mean? I've seen people try and pull open guard, or they just try and pull a sitting guard. They just sit down, and the person on top just goes around it like, you know, like a I was going to say like a house on fire, but houses on fire don't move. So that's not a good comparison. Anyway, so the lady on bottom, she's pulled a good closed guard, you know, and the lady on top is now faced with, you know, 2 challenges. One, opening the guard, which can be quite difficult because I don't know if you realize it, but we walk around their legs all day. And it can be kind of hard to open someone's closed guard, especially in a tournament where they're like, you know, I'll be damned if they're opening my guard, you know. And then secondly, even after you open it, you have to pass, which can be very difficult if the person on the bottom is, like, extremely mobile. Also depending on, like, the friction coefficient of the mats, you know what I mean? Different mats have different friction coefficients, you know, to sound like, you know, a physicist or whatever. If it's a very smooth mat, the person on their back, they'll slide around, you know. Then there's other mats, like, say, puzzle mats, for example, you know. The ones you can put in your children's rec room. Those ones they're designed to have more of a grip, you know. So from there, it's easier anyway, to pass someone's guard, because you're getting more purchase with your feet, and they're not sliding away from you, like, you know, like grapes on ice or whatever the comparison should be. You know what I mean? These mats here, these are tatami mats, and they're new tatami mats, so they're kind of in that, you know, middle region. I remember years ago, one of my very first tournaments, I competed on these wrestling mats, and I don't know where they'd gotten these, man, but these wrestling mats, it was like being on ice. They were so slippery. And I remember before the match, we were like, look, she stood up, she's trying to pass her guard here. Before the match, we'd stood up, and we were like breakdancing, because we were seeing who could do the most back spins, so to speak. And, like, we were able to crack off like a dozen spins. That's how slippery the mats were. Anyway, so you can see the lady on top here. She's was able to open the guard of the lady in white. And the lady in white, she was like, you know what? I'm just going to stand up. Which is, standing up from your guard is a very underutilized strategy at the lower belt levels. You know what I mean? Because when someone opens your guard, maybe you don't want to sit there on your bum and wait for them to pass. Maybe you want to get up and take them down, you know? Or for kids, you know? That is another highly underutilized strategy. Because remember, when you're on your back using your guard, right, you have 4 choices. Sweep them, submit them, take their back, or stand up. You see what I mean? And if someone's busted open your guard and they've stood up and walked away from you, if your guard is sweet, you know, just stay there. Don't stand up. You don't have to, you know. But if your guard is not so sweet, you know, see there. The lady in black got 2 for that. No, I'm taking it away. Yeah, there you go. The lady in black, there you go. Yeah, the lady in black gets 2. You know? So anyway, maybe it wasn't such a wise idea for the lady in white to stand up because she got taken down there, you know? But, you know, my point is, if someone opens your guard and stands up, you don't have to stand up. You can remain sitting there. It is a grappling event. In jiu-jitsu, it is the responsibility of the standing athlete to pass the guard of the athlete on the bottom, you know? So if a person opens your guard and stands up, you can remain on your bum, you know? Or you can stand up, you know? So for this one, I think the lady in black is going to win. I don't know. I was jabbering so much there. I was losing track of what there you go. Because I gave her those 2 points there for scoring that takedown. Let's see. Bump, bump, bottom. Yep, there you go. So she gets the 2. And I think these ladies are doing best 2 out of 3, so I'm pretty sure, yeah, now they're going to fight again. Right? I'm just giving them the lay of the land here. You know? Anyway. Oh, there you go. Here I am giving them some energy as an excited referee. So anyway, they're squaring off again. In the first match, the lady in black won, getting 2 points for a takedown, I guess I would call it. And now they're facing each other once again. And you know, they're doing their best. I mean, like I said before, with white belts, you can't expect it to be, you know, awesome jiu-jitsu. You know, they're just doing their best. But at the same time, just because they're having some problems here or there, you can't penalize them for stalling. You know, because they're trying. You know, just because a person can't pass or because a person can't sweep, they're trying. You know, and just like these ladies are, they're trying. You know, and I think the lady on top is trying to do a push choke there on the lady on the bottom. You know, when you're in somebody's guard, there's basically only a few submission opportunities. One is the push choke, which I think in Portuguese is called the amassa pau. And then one is the Ezekiel, which I think is named after an old Brazilian judo player. And the other one is to fall back for a footlock, you know? And those are your 3, basically those are your 3 submission opportunities, you know? I mean, you know, if neck cranks are allowed, okay, fine, you can try to do the Mark Coleman neck crank on the person, but neck cranks are not allowed in IBJJF rules. I don't think they're allowed in any jiu-jitsu. I don't think they're even allowed in ADCC, where heel hooks and reverse heel hooks are allowed for anybody. Anyway, the lady on the bottom, she's doing a cross choke. You know, as I was saying before, if you're on the bottom using your closed guard in a sportive jiu-jitsu, you know, event, you have way more. I think I'm going to penalize her here because she grabbed her fingers. She actually grabbed a single finger. And I'm explaining to her, you can't grab a single. See, and this is my thou shalt be penalized movement, you know. So I'm explaining to the lady on top I have to penalize her, you know, for grabbing a single finger. And I'm explaining to the score table right now that, okay, she's getting a penalty. And I'm waiting for them to put it on the board right, you know. I'm explaining it to them. But anyway, like I was saying, in jiu-jitsu, yeah. In jiu-jitsu, the person on the bottom, if you're in your closed guard, I mean, how many submissions are there off your back? You know, arm bar, you know, triangle, cross choke, all kinds of stuff, you know? So this is why you see, especially for lower weights, people that pull guard, because it puts them in a position where there are more options from which, you know, you can, you know, be victorious, you know? I mean, obviously things are different in mixed martial arts and what have you, you know. But, oh, look at this. Arm lock. What was I just saying, you know? I'm like, that's close enough. I think the lady in black says to me I didn't tap, and I was like, yeah, also your arm didn't get broken. So, like, yeah. So that's why I'm saying to her, with kids in white belts, you know, I'll just call it a day, you know? Because it's not like there's, you know, $5,000 on the line or 10 grand or 50 grand or whatever. Okay, but it's the UFC, fine, get your arm broken. Maybe you can still pull out a win, you know? Like Jacare or whoever it was versus Roger Gracie back in the day. He gets his arm broken and still wins. But for white belts and kids and stuff, no, I'm not going to let that happen. Anyway, so once again, the lady in the white, she's pulled guard. Oh, see, now I'm going to explain here what reaping is, I think. I'm like, you can't, see, you have to. See, from here, the lady in black has fallen back and she's put her leg in a position from which she wants to defend herself. And from there, I'm like, you can't put your leg there because you're attacking the person's medial collateral ligament. So, you know, I just penalized her there. I mean, I could have DQ'd her, but, you know, I didn't want to DQ her, you know. Hasn't. Anyway, there you go. So the lady in white gets a advantage for almost sweeping her. The lady in black gets a warning for doing, you know, for reaping the leg, even though in larger tournaments in IBJJF, they probably just DQ her and move on to the next match, you know. Thanks for the money, see you next year. Anyway, so the lady in white is ahead by a little bit here, because like I said, she got an advantage for almost landing that sweep, and the lady in black, you know, I warned her verbally for putting her foot, you know. If you don't know what reaping is, it's basically when a person begins to attack the medial collateral ligament, which is on the inside of the knee, you know. In IBJJF, you know, only for brown and black belt. Actually, I don't think brown. For black belt no-gi, you're allowed to do that, you know. But anyway, anybody wearing a kimono is not allowed to do that. Bend the leg inwards, attack the MCL, you know, because it's kind of nasty, you know. It's one of the, I was going to say, it's one of the many things a heel hook attacks, but, you know, there's no point me breaking down for you the various mechanics of a heel hook right now. We're watching two white belts in a gi, so nothing could be more unrelated to this than talking about heel hooks. Anyway, like I said, the lady in white, she got an advantage for trying to do that sweep, and now she's trying to do a cross choke, you know. And we'll see how this concludes. The lady on top, I mean, really, if she wants to pass the person on bottom's guard, she should be posturing, you know. Well, as the person on the bottom, if you're not posturing, there's a very little chance you're going to pass the person's guard, you know. And here she's going for the arm lock again. Oh, look at this. This is going to be a sweep. Bottom to top. That's 2. There you go. So anyway, the lady on top's winning now. And the lady on the bottom, as I said, you know, she's being held down. This is side control. Side control itself, in case you don't realize, is not worth any points under IBJJF rules. Mount is 4 and knee on belly is 2. And I awarded 2 there for knee on belly, even though it looked for a second there like the lady put her in half guard, but like I said, when you're refereeing from you're standing on one side of it, you see what you see. Then you stand on the other side and you see something that is not completely different, but maybe completely different. You know what I mean? So it's always interesting to later do these little videos and then think, it's odd. From this side, it looks totally different, you know? But, you know, I always compare it to a TV. You know, if you stand in front of a TV, you're like, hey, this is pretty amazing. And you stand behind a TV and you're like, I don't see anything. You know what I mean? Maybe that's a terrible comparison. Anyway, I gave an advantage there, I think, for passing guard, I believe. And the lady on top is winning by, at least by those 2 she got for that pretty decent sweep. And then earlier, for that advantage, and the lady in black got, oh look, she's trying to cross choke, look at that. Generally cross chokes don't work when you're on top of a person in their guard, but, you know, it's not illegal, you know. And the lady on bottom, she's, I'm not sure what she's trying to do, actually. But like I said, if you want to pass guard, generally you want to pretend your head is a helium balloon, you know, and Get your head as high as you can. Not hydrogen, because we all know that the terrible tale of the Hindenburg, you know. Not that that's relevant to the analogy, but, you know, if I'm going to say that your head should be floating up into the air, I should be saying it's a, you know, a helium balloon, not a hydrogen balloon, because of, you know, the lessons of history. Anyway, but the lady on top, she doesn't seem to want to pass. She's trying to, I don't think, maybe she's doing some kind of choke here. Doing like a push choke or God knows what. Anyway, more good sportsmanship, which is nice to see, you know. And pretty sure the lady in white wins this one, you know. I think she lost the first one because of a takedown, and the second one she won by arm lock. And I think on this one she wins by points. You know? And here I am chatting with them, socializing. Yep, there you go. So the lady wins. Lady in white wins that one. Yep, but good job. And now here we are. This is the, I think these are blue belts. This is the blue belt no-gi division. You can see the guy with the green ankle band sits down, which is fine. All you gotta do is touch your opponent, then you can sit. The guy on top is looking to get around his guard. Remember this guy on top? I'd refereed him at a few other matches, and he did some pretty good flying guillotines on people. Here you can see he's trying to do some more flying, get around that guy's guard and whatnot. And you can see here he's going for the dude's head. Oh, the guy's got north-south on him now. There you go. I think I gave the guy, the one fellow, yeah, I gave the one fellow an advantage for almost passing, and the other fellow I gave him 2 for sweeping. And now the fellow is going to come up. And I'm looking at what I'm looking at. It's not 4 because his second hook isn't in yet, and it's not a sweep because he didn't start in his guard. He was effectively pinned on north-south. So going from north, there you go. So I give him an advantage there for almost taking the back. So that was an interesting little sequence, actually. The one fellow got an advantage for almost passing. The fellow with the blue top on there, he got 2 for turning the guy over. And then he put him in north-south. And then the guy from below north-south almost got up onto his back. And so I gave him an advantage for almost taking the back. But that, even though he went from bottom to top, it wasn't a sweep. Because it didn't start in the guard. It started from hold down. So the same way escaping the mount is good but not worth points, or escaping whatever is good, you know, neon belly or side control is good but not worth points. If you are being held down in a pin, a north-south pin, and you suddenly kip up, or whatever the word is, you monkey up onto the guy's back, that's nice. I mean, if you put the hooks in, that's 4, but it's not a sweep because it didn't start in the guard, you know. And here's another one that's not going to be a sweep. See? I think I gave the fellow an advantage for almost passing, I think. But anyway, if someone has side control on you and you just put them over, you know, that's not worth anything, you know. And I think the fellow there got caught in a pretty sweet, whatever you want to call it, a darce or a bow or whatever you want to call it, a head and arm choke. There you go. Good job. That's what you get for those long-legged people, I mean long-armed people, you know. Those darces can come out of nowhere, you know. And now here it's that same fellow in the blue that didn't win in that earlier match, but here he is again. In the earlier match, I think he pulled. We'll see if he pulls again. I don't recall what he does here. Like I said, in no-gi, you can sit right after you touch the guy. You can just touch him and sit down. Yeah, there you go. There he pulls, yeah. Now he's looking for a sweep. Oh, looking for a guillotine. That's a tight guillotine. Or teicht, as I say in my Portuguese accent. There's the tap. And that's that. You know? A very teicht guillotine. You know? So we'll raise somebody's arm. There you go. Well done. Well done, ladies and gentlemen. Or in this case, I guess it's just gentlemen, you know? Anyway, I'll see you at the next one.